Did Angel Reese just drop a bombshell on Caitlin Clark? Imagine the shock when Shaquille O'Neal, one of Angel Reese's biggest supporters, suddenly flipped the script and called Caitlin Clark the real deal right to Angel's face.
Professional jealousy.
Well, on the big podcast with Shaq said Angel actually called me after that rant.
For Reese, who's long been used to Shaq's unwavering loyalty, this was probably the most jarring moment of her career. Here's the twist: Shaq, who once backed Angel Reese against critics,
And he said, quote, she was upset, and she asked me, why didn't you say...
is now talking up Clark's skills in a way that's left Reese questioning everything. So, what exactly changed? And why is Shaq's new stance hitting so hard?
She's not gonna hit that shot and bam, like damn. She's not gonna hit that shot, man. Like if I say 10 times you're not gonna hit the shot and you hit the shot.
On a recent episode of The Big Podcast with Shaq, the former NBA star shared an unexpected story. Apparently, after a heated discussion, Angel Reese called him up, hurt and confused, demanding, "Why didn't you say anything?" She wanted Shaq's public support against critics like Charles Barkley, but Shaq had an entirely different take this time.
Type that when I see something that I don't agree with, I get pissed off.
Shaq said, I had to call Reese and tell her to stop reading comments. You don't owe an explanation to anybody.
For the first time, he admitted something big: Clark had proven him wrong, and he couldn't ignore it. This switch from her biggest champion had to feel like a major blow for Reese. Not only was Shaq publicly praising the player who had taken her spotlight,
Because she jumped on me. Why did you say nothing to Charles, is what Angel Reese told Charles Barkley. And he said she's being too sensitive.
but he was calling Clark out as someone truly special. Someone who was changing the game in ways even he couldn't have anticipated. Shaq, who once doubted Clark's skills and saw her as unproven, was now proudly proclaiming his admiration for her. Shaq's shift from Team Reese to Team Clark. For the longest time, Shaq has been one of Reese's biggest supporters.
Hell of a player. Like she does things I can never do. Like she can really shoot. And she's really good at the free.
When Angel moved from Maryland to LSU, Shaq was there to hype her up, labeling her as a fierce, unstoppable player who reminded him of his own unbreakable spirit on the court. He wasn't just a fan, he was her mentor, offering advice on navigating the ups and downs of professional sports, the criticism, and the pressure to perform.
You gotta buy jerseys, you gotta buy shoes, you gotta do that. They're starting to do that now. And that's because of, how you played and Caitlin, the thing you had, that the game is more popular than
His guidance was clear: ignore the negativity, focus on her strengths, and keep proving her doubters wrong. In Shaq's eyes, Reese was a player with the kind of grit and resilience that basketball legends are made of.
We go through this a lot. A lot of time when we critique these guys, these youngsters and these females, they don't understand that all the stuff that they're getting ready to go through, we are the masters of that. So I was just, telling her how to handle adversity.
She was the physical, tough presence on the court that kept opponents on their toes, dominating the game with her defensive prowess and rebounding skills. Shaq's support wasn't just public, it was personal. He was fully committed to helping her succeed.
You do. But I have a solution for that nobody's gonna like my solution.
I'm here.
So let me explain why I came up with this solution first.
Sharing insights, giving advice, and even defending her in the media. But things started to shift as Caitlin Clark's star began to rise. Initially, Shaq wasn't convinced of Clark's hype. To him, Clark seemed like a risky player. Her signature style, launching deep three-pointers, felt like a gamble in his eyes, and he doubted she could maintain that level of play under the intense spotlight of high-stakes games.
Encouraging words, just telling her, to hang in there, because when you're the best player and you play for a great coach like Kim Mulkey, they stay on you.
He watched her with skepticism, expecting her to falter when the pressure mounted. Clark's Final Four performance, a game-changer for Shaq.
I love, why I love Steph Curry? Because I've never seen that before. I've never seen that before. I've seen it a little bit in Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf, but I've never seen a guy.
Then came Clark's performance in the NCAA Final Four, which completely changed Shaq's perspective. Game after game, Clark delivered in ways that not only met Shaq's high standards but shattered his expectations.
Consistently comes out, and if you look at her, she's doing stuff we've never seen before. Never seen nobody do that on a consistent basis. There's a lot of girls in WNBA.
She wasn't just a shooter. She was hitting deep shots with an audacity and precision that captivated fans and players alike. By the time Iowa reached the Final Four, Shaq found himself watching Clark closely, curious to see if she would thrive or crack under the pressure.
You're expected to do everything, so I just told her, I said, listen, I know your coach is a little hard on you, but you have to accept it because you're the best player.
Clark didn't just live up to the moment, she owned it. Her game became a masterclass in poise and precision. With each three-pointer she sank from seemingly impossible distances, pulling fans to the edge of their seats.
I was in the Final Four, I'm like, damn, like, and I was a hater because, you know, I'm down with you. Like, she's not going to hit that shot, and bam, like, damn.
Shaq's doubts evaporated as he witnessed her fearless performance. Finally, he admitted he had been wrong. He saw Clark not just as a good player, but as a transformative one, a player who could make an impact on the sport akin to legends like Stephen Curry.
After Charles Barkley, he had his big rant about the jealous women of the WNBA, to shut up, being petty about Caitlin Clark and everything else. Well, on the big podcast with
Shaq made it clear on his podcast that this wasn't just any praise. Calling someone the truth is the ultimate compliment, reserved for players who are special in a way that shifts the entire sport. Clark's ability to consistently hit logo threes brought a new level of excitement to women's basketball.
Shaq said Angel actually called me after that rant. And he said, quote, she was upset, and she asked me, why didn't you say nothing?
Something that Shaq had never anticipated. Clark versus Reese, a contrast of styles and star power. Shaq's new admiration for Clark didn't diminish his respect for Reese.
See? And
I hate when men say that.
But listen, that's the only difference.
We start dunking them with.
Watch.
But it highlighted a different style of play that had him captivated. While Reese is known for her physical dominance and ability to control the paint, Clark's game thrives on unpredictability and range. Shaq was drawn to her three-point shooting, a skill that not only sets Clark apart but adds a thrilling element to every game she plays.
Handles. Girls got some handles. Oh, we got this. We got that. Oh, we got talkers. Oh, we got brawls. Only thing is
Clark's shots from deep forced Shaq to rethink what makes a player exciting. And in that comparison, Reese's more traditional style began to feel less groundbreaking. It's not that Shaq no longer values Reese's game. Her inside dominance is still highly respected by him, but Clark's long-range shooting and ability to score from anywhere on the court brought an element of excitement Shaq hadn't seen in a long time.
I don't think
what?
so.
Bro, you dunking and getting, man, trust me in the change. Trust me in the change. I'm telling you right.
So.
Reese's reliable strength-based game remains impressive. Yet in contrast, Clark's knack for hitting clutch threes turned her into the kind of electrifying presence Shaq couldn't ignore. Shaq explained it like this: Clark's performance created a new level of anticipation in every game. Fans were glued to their screens, waiting to see if she would sink another impossible shot. Her playstyle added unpredictability, the kind of excitement Shaq believes is essential for growing women's basketball. And so, while Reese's gritty style is still valuable, Shaq's fascination with Clark's game was undeniable, and it started to shape his views on the future of the sport. Angel's response: how Shaq's praise for Clark impacts her. For Angel Reese, this shift in Shaq's enthusiasm must feel like a gut punch. Shaq had always been her biggest champion, the loudest voice in her corner, supporting her as a future icon for women's basketball. But now, with Shaq openly admiring Clark's game, Reese is suddenly sharing the spotlight. This isn't just about competition on the court, it's about influence and visibility. Shaq's words carry weight, and by publicly shifting his focus to Clark, he's signaling that women's basketball's future might belong to a new type of player. This change comes at a pivotal moment for the WNBA, where visibility and fan engagement are crucial for the league's growth. In Shaq's eyes, Clark versus Reese is the kind of rivalry that could be a catalyst for bringing in new fans. Rivalries fuel sports, and Shaq believes that a storyline centered around these two players could create the kind of drama and excitement that keeps audiences coming back. It's not just about the individual players, it's about the bigger picture of women's basketball and where it's heading. But with this praise for Clark comes a hard truth for Reese. Shaq's admiration for Clark isn't just reshaping his own view, it's shifting the league's focus. Reese, who once had Shaq's full support, now finds herself sharing the stage with Clark, a player Shaq sees as capable of redefining the sport. This shift is a revelation for Reese. Her spotlight isn't hers alone anymore, and Clark's rise has intensified the competition. The Shaq solution: lowering the rim for more dunks. Shaq took his admiration for Clark a step further by proposing a controversial idea: lowering the rim in women's basketball to make dunks more common. For him, its simple dunks are one of the NBA's most iconic moments, and he believes that by introducing them to the women's game, the WNBA could attract more fans. With Clark as the face of this potential change, Shaq envisions a world where her skills extend from deep three-pointers to soaring dunks. Shaq's endorsement of lowering the rim might be a radical idea, but it's also a reflection of his belief in Clark's potential. He sees her as a player who could redefine what's possible on the court, combining her long-range shooting with highlight-worthy dunks. It's a controversial suggestion that sparked plenty of debate, yet Shaq's support lends it credibility. For Shaq, this isn't just about adding more highlights to the game. It's about creating a new era for women's basketball, one that attracts a broader audience and showcases a new level of athleticism. And while this idea might be divisive, Shaq's confidence in Clark as the player who could lead this transformation shows just how much he believes in her impact. Clark's rise, redefining women's basketball. As Shaq continues to sing Clark's praises, it's clear he views her as more than just a skilled player, she's a game changer. Her rise isn't just reshaping his perspective but is also highlighting a new direction for women's basketball. Her style of play, combining deep three-pointers with an aggressive approach, is attracting attention and setting a new standard for excitement in the game. With Shaq's endorsement, Clark's influence is growing, and her rivalry with Reese is adding a compelling storyline that the WNBA can build on. This isn't just about who's the better player, it's about the future of women's basketball and the new level of attention these two players bring to the sport. In the end, Shaq's praise for Clark is more than just admiration, it's a signal that the game is evolving. Reese's journey isn't over, but Clark's rise has made it clear that she has fierce competition not only on the court but for influence and visibility. Shaq's shift in loyalty reflects a broader trend, the potential for women's basketball to reach new